Okay, we are live. I'm hitting record. Well, actually, okay. Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Security at the in30.net tech podcast site, in30.net. It was a terrible intro. Let's do that again. Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Security, hosted at in30.net. Anyway, we're on episode 27, and we want to talk about VPNs. I don't know how far we got to go. We're going to get to it because Tom is really mad about a whole lot of things. So
Oh, yes.
I'm just gonna throw it to him and start this laundry list of I guess real life follow up.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, we've got some public shaming to do. So, at my business, we use some RSA products, and we're looking to kind of get off those, go to some more open source stuff we control in-house, right? But we still need support. We still have a lot of RSA products that we need support with. So we needed to create an account today, which is great. So I went to RSA's website, put in all of our details, all of our license keys, our corporate email accounts, and they said, all right, we'll create a password. By the way, it can't be more than 32 characters. I'm like, huh, that's weird. Why would you have that length restriction, if you're hashing the thing? And then they said, oh, yeah, no, you can't use those special characters. Get those out of here. A through Z, capitals are okay, you can throw in some numbers, but no special characters. Guys, RSA, dude, you're a security company, and you're not allowing special characters in your password? Are you kidding me? Really? Oh,
What's your favorite
man.
special character? Let's get some humor in here.
I like the tilde. I
You
really
like the
like the tilde.
tilde?
I
What
do.
about what's that French thing? The schwa, the little the G with the little thing underneath the c'est soi, I think it's called.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, I don't like that one.
So I read an article today that said why if you're on mobile, if you hold down, let's say the letter E, it gives you E with all the accents.
Yeah.
And you can use that as a special character, which I'm like, that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're on mobile. If you're on your keyboard, that's a different story.
Yeah, on mobile it's really easy, but on your keyboard, if you've got an English keyboard, you've got to learn the alt codes to make that happen. So it's really annoying.
But that would make it extremely secure.
It would. It really would, unless you're getting hacked by someone, in Mexico or Germany or France or, another keyboard language that has those accents enabled by default.
We got to use Latin ones because who uses
Yes.
the Pope? The Pope will start hacking you.
Yes, be wary. The Vatican hackers, they will come and get you. But
So,
RSA, guys, get it together. You are trying to tell people you're a security company while you're taking bribes from the NSA, while people are boycotting your conference. You don't need any more bad press right now. This is just getting thrown onto the pile. But really, this is so trivial. This is so stupidly simple. Get it together.
well, just to go back to a previous topic, when you are hashing passwords. So for people who don't know, it doesn't. You're taking your password and you're jumbling it up using some sort of algorithm. It shouldn't matter length or what it is because it's doing the same thing. For example, it offsets every character by 5. Who cares what it is? There's an ASCII table. You take the character, you add 5 to it, that's your new password. I mean, it shouldn't matter length. It shouldn't matter anything else. It should just jumble up and spit it out. You get this hash 256 character hash block, and to reverse engineer that's next to impossible. So
Yeah.
to have a limit or anything like that is a problem. And I found it. So when I was using LastPass during Heartbleed to change my passwords, I would choose 32 characters. I would say change my password. LastPass would say, would you like to confirm? I hit yes. And then I get the site that says, oh, sorry, here are our limits. So now LastPass has the new password, and I get locked out because whatever website didn't accept my 32-bit or 32-character password.
Yeah, I just went through that with a bunch of my sites. There are way too many sites that aren't properly storing passwords or that have really horrible, insecure requirements, and I don't get it. I mean, come on, how many years has it been? We've known how to do this correctly for like a decade and a half. We should be over this by now.
Crackstation.ca. I actually spoke to the guy. Does a very nice tutorial in all the languages to show how to store the passwords in the database correctly, with salt and everything else. And literally, it's 2 lines of code.
Yeah,
like
it's great. It's
just
so
use
easy.
the java.hash. You can like hash in Java or PHP, and then add the salt, and it's just amazingly good.
Yeah, yeah. Or let's say you're using the framework. Let's say you're using some PHP stuff to build your web apps. It's got it built right in. You can use someone else's code, someone else's built login code that does all this correctly. Stop writing your own. Use something else that someone else has built. If you're using Rails, I suggest Devise. It's great, it's free, it's open source. Use it. But that's not going to affect your average everyday person. What is going to affect your average everyday person are 0 days, which we have a couple of.
So let's get started.
So first, we'll get the easy one out of the way. Guess what? Flash has an exploit. Run your updates, stay on top of it. If you're one of the people who are putting up with Windows 8 or 8.1, guess what? You're going to be a little bit more secure than everyone else when you're using Flash Player on that system. That thing auto-updates totally automatically. You're going to see it in your Windows update. It just hit a couple days ago. Run your updates. You're cool. Everyone else, when Flash pops up and they say, hey, click yes to update me, please do it. It's a bad problem.
So at school, on our computers, on the MacBook Airs that are not running OS X Mavericks, Flash pops up and says, would you like to update? So I tell all my students, click on it. So they click on it. It says, would you like to update? They hit yes. And then we get hit, what's the administrator password? Let's just say I'm not an administrator. Flash is now not been updated. So yes, we are just as vulnerable. We are running XP mainly because we need the summer to move to 7. So at least we're moving to 7. It's just and what I love is that we should move to 8 because 8 requires a whole lot less resources than 7 does.
It does, which really surprised me.
Because we have the problem that our computers at school are running, have 2 gigs of RAM, and Novell's system that pushes images to you takes up like 1.5 gigs. Can't run Windows 8, can't run Windows 7 because of the RAM limitation. So I have no idea what they're going to do, but they said Windows 7 and Office 2010 when we walk in day 1. So at least we got 6 weeks of this.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you, on Windows 8, it goes into Windows Update, not the Windows Store, because the Store is another problem. The Store is just like this nonsense that you have to get Windows 8.1, which I recommend for everybody. You have to go into the Store, and then the Store, like, you have to dig around for it. It's trying to mimic the App Store or the iOS Store or the Play Store, but it doesn't do the greatest job, and you have to dig around, and you can't find anything. So I wish all the updates just go straight to Windows Update and not through the Store.
Yeah, the Store really annoys me, and it had, when I was using it, it had a really bad tendency to fail on updates.
Yes, that's the other thing. Especially a Windows 8.1 updates is like 4 gigs big.
Yeah.
And then you have to update the updates. That's the other thing. You can't go straight to 8.1. You have to go 8.05 to get something, some framework, and then you have to go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Flash. The good part is Flash is a standalone program. I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but not like that big of a deal compared to your next one.
Yeah, this one's huge. There is an Internet Explorer 0 day for all supported versions of Internet Explorer on all Windows platforms that are currently running, including XP, which is end of life, but the exploit still affects XP. By the way, this isn't going to get patched in XP. XP is end of life. Your security updates have stopped. This is the first big hack that we've seen since the XP end of life. And Microsoft isn't going to patch it. And honestly, it's not their job to. XP's done. So here's the gory details. Luckily, there is a workaround. Unfortunately, you have to apply it manually. You've got to go in and do some command line stuff or go remove a file. It's not really trivial. If you want to, look it up on Microsoft's site. But here's a better option. Okay, national governments, security researchers, and even Microsoft themselves are saying, hey, until we get a patch out, if you can't do this workaround, you might want to use another browser. So this would be a perfect time for you to move to Firefox, Chrome, Opera. I use Chrome personally. Firefox is going to be a little more secure for you. It's just got tighter security options than Chrome does by default.
And to be honest, Firefox is now faster. Like,
really?
Chrome is bogged down with me to the point that sometimes I'll just open Firefox and be shocked by how fast. I mean, I'm not saying it's like hugely noticeable, but every once in a while, the new Firefox updates have been really good.
Huh, I might have to get on that and try it again.
Mainly when I update the podcast, mainly when I go into the WordPress of our site and I do the updates, it takes forever to move about and everything else. I'll open up Firefox, go to the website, it's instantaneous, so maybe it's your mileage may vary thing. I'm sure for the Google apps, Chrome is optimized, but I mean, Firefox is just as good as Chrome. Like you said, I use Chrome mainly because I'm entrenched with Google, and I want Google to show me Google Now cards. So we go from there.
Yep. So use a different browser. And Authy, do we want to go into this yet, or do we want to do our VPN stuff first?
Well, let's. I mean, let's see. We're like 12 minutes in, so I say let's go to the VPN and we'll come back.
Okay.
Okay. So the topic started out. I read an article from Read Write that had somebody take the Stans article on how to create a VPN using a Raspberry Pi. And I've been looking for a VPN, not to do anything bad, but just to be a little more secure. I mean, I don't need bulletproof security. I just want to stop the script kiddies at Starbucks or at the local place from sniffing my traffic. So for those who don't know what a VPN is, it's a virtual private network. It creates an endpoint between you and your server wherever you are, and basically you're telling the server to get all that information and send it to you, so no one can snoop, and you're safer. You can relax a little bit. You're not going to get your traffic sniffed. All the person who sniffs your traffic is going to see is that you're connected to this random IP, but they'll have no idea what you're doing. I hope I explained that right.
Yeah. And what package were you using to set up your VPN?
OpenSSL.
Okay.
So I have a FreeNAS box which runs off FreeBSD, which holds my server, and I was really hoping it has OpenVPN installed, but there's a lot of command line stuff that you got to do, and I didn't feel comfortable. And I saw this article, and I said, wow, a standalone device. All I need to do is buy a Raspberry Pi for $35, get an 8 gig SD card, which I have a ton lying around, and install. It's Raspbian. It's the Raspberry Pi version of Debian, and just do some command lines. So far, it's been good. I have not gotten it up and running yet. I got to the point where I created my Diffie-Hellman key exchange, which took a long time. So what you have to do is you have to create a static IP. You have to get the packages for OpenSSL or OpenVPN. I'm sorry, OpenVPN. You have to create your certificate authority. Then you have to create a self-signed certificate. You have to create your client certificates that you're going to install on each client, and then you have to do your Diffie-Hellman key exchange. And then I'm just about done with that, but it took a while. It's very straightforward. I think I'm going to have success. I just got busy today to continue working on it.
Okay. So is this going to be a project for, mom and pop, or should they look for a more boxed up solution?
Um, Here's the thing: if you know your way around the command line, if you feel comfortable tinkering with stuff, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's $35 or $40 if you buy the 8 gig SD card with Raspbian installed. So the worst thing that happens is you give up and you lose $40. If you get it working, which is not, I mean, I haven't gotten it working yet. It's not a 4-hour project. It's more of like a real weekend project. And you have some know-how, and you know, like a computer person nearby, I think you can end up doing it. If you want something that works right now and works and is probably more secure and a little bit better at stuff, I would say go to a service that provides it that's reputable.
Okay. So with these types of projects, if you don't know that, I don't know if I could be a computer guy. I'm kind of interested in this stuff, but I'm not sure really. It might be worth it to buy the Raspberry Pi just to play around with it. I mean, it will teach you a lot, and even using Linux to set up little things with the Raspberry Pi will teach you a whole lot about it, the way a computer works and the way networking works, and it's just a good project. There's a lot of learning you can get out of
And
it.
the good part is that it's standalone. You're not
Yeah.
putting it on your main machine. You're not putting it on your kid's machine. It's not. I mean, it's there. It's $35. You can run Linux on it. You can run. It teaches you what I did, remote desktop. It teaches you how to port forward, and it teaches it to you. I mean, at least this walkthrough. But there's hundreds of books, hundreds of projects. It's so expandable. For 25 or $35, if you want to learn it, this is a perfect opportunity. Because you're going to learn, if you major in computer science like I did, nothing I learn is really useful. It's all about learning it on your own, learning security on your own, learning the command line, learning app development, all this stuff you really have to learn on your own. Having that background helps, but nowhere in college are you going to have a command line learning class. They're just going to expect you to know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I experienced the exact same thing in my computer science courses. It's the courses were a little helpful, but really it's either the on the job experience, or I learned more just tinkering around with projects at home. Building stuff, trying to put stuff together, buying components, just tinkering. I'm trying to take the case off of it, but it's being a little difficult. This is my Raspberry Pi. It's a tiny little handheld computer. It's got some ports on it. It's got a networking jack here, some USB ports. You can put an SD card in here. You get power right here. It's this wonderful, tiny little computer. It's it's smaller than a cell phone, really. It's a bit thicker, but it's definitely smaller than a cell phone. And it's just nice. It's this fully functional, tiny computer that you can hack around with. And you want to start totally over, just format the SD card. Plug it into your computer, hit format, and then plug it in. And guess what? You're good to go again. So I highly suggest picking one of these up. You can find them on Amazon. Amazon's got a lot of great bundles with other stuff, with game controllers and keyboards and all kinds of goodies you can get with these.
And like I said, if you have somebody who's interested or you want to be interested, just buy it. But again, so I know each one of those commands. I know exactly what I'm doing. At least I can read them and tell you what it's doing. But I'm still following it. So hopefully next week or the week after I'll have a better idea of how it works. Now Tom and I are gonna differ on why we want VPNs. I want it to just not let anyone know what I'm doing. I mean, but if you really want to be secure, there are so many more ways to go about with VPNs. Like if you can combine this with Tor, you can have your endpoint be a different country if you care about privacy. I just mainly want not to be sniffed at the local Starbucks.
Yeah, and it's definitely helpful for that. So there are commercial VPN services. If you type VPN into Google, you will get hundreds of different companies trying to sell you a VPN service, and some of them are reputable, some of them aren't. And there's two that we know that are decent. One of them I've used. The other sponsors a very well-known security podcast that we love dearly, Steve Gibson's Security Now. A longtime sponsor of the show has been ProXPN, and they do recommend it. I haven't used it. I can't vouch for it. From what they're doing, technically, it looks pretty good. The one I went with, and I hate the name. I absolutely hate the name. It's really simple to understand, but it's not at all catchy. It's just called Private Internet Access. So if you go to privateinternetaccess.com, all you need to buy this thing, I bought a year of it, is you need an email address and some Bitcoin. Because you don't even have to give them a credit card. You can be completely anonymous. These guys will tell you, and again, I can't verify this unless I'm inside their network, but the fact that all the usernames are randomly generated, you set a password, you pay in Bitcoin, there's no way to get back to a real person, it lends me to believe that this is accurate. But they claim that they do not collect any logs whatsoever. They don't log anything anywhere about anyone, and that's really cool. And they've got endpoints all over the world. I use the one, in the Netherlands and Sweden. If you wanted to watch like BBC's iPlayer and watch the stuff from the BBC, you know that it'll pop up and say, yeah, sorry, you're in the States. The colonies aren't allowed to watch the BBC on the web. But you can use private internet access, get a UK IP, and watch as much Doctor Who as you please.
Well,
sit there with your tea and crumpets.
Yeah, look, I'm at school. It's they block websites that I like to have, like SourceForge is considered downloading and shareware and all this other stuff. And it's just good to be able to flip on a switch, connect to my house, and get a VPN. And that it doesn't need to be secure for me. It doesn't necessarily need to be bulletproof security. I just need to be able to get this and to not have people know that I'm exactly doing it. And like I said, you go to Starbucks, you go on other Wi-Fi. For me, that's fine. I'm definitely not taking this to DEF CON and testing this out.
Right. If you're in a life or death security situation, I don't really think you should rely on any third party whatsoever. Really, if you're building your own VPN solution, you should probably rely on that instead. But if you don't want your ISP or your boss snooping on your web traffic or the kid sitting next to you in Starbucks, getting a commercial VPN solution or building your own is great. It's especially good for, that free open access Wi-Fi. As a matter of fact, I know with ProXPN and Private Internet Access, they've got apps. They've got apps that you can install on your phone. And if you don't want T-Mobile or AT&T knowing what you're doing, which, by the way, they do, and they might be selling that data, then use a VPN. It masks all the traffic between you and the endpoint, and the only person you're trusting is yourself and your VPN provider. That might be too much trust for you. You might want to build your own. But if you want easy, check it out. Do some research. Take a look at it. If you want to go the truly open source, super hidden, ultra secure route, Tor is really your only answer. Tor is kind of a mind-bending sort of thing. You can't act like you do normally online with Tor if you want to remain anonymous. If you log on to Tor, and let me explain what it is first. Tor is what's called the Onion Router. It's a big open-source project that volunteers stand up Tor servers, and they bounce traffic all over the world. Like if you ever hear someone say, yeah, I'm behind 7 proxies, they're probably talking about Tor. What it does is you've got an entrance node. You've got a server you connect to, and this all happens automatically when you hit start. And then it bounces to another server, and then a different one, and then another one, and then one halfway across the world, and then a different one, until finally you reach your exit node, and you pop out somewhere randomly across the internet. Through all of these proxies, and all of them have a different layer of encryption, and no one in the middle knows what you're trying to get to or who you are. You are totally anonymous. until you log into Facebook, and then Facebook can tie you to the IP, and then if you go and you hack the U.S. government website, if you hack whitehouse.gov, then you're also logged into your Facebook, and they can track you that way. So if you really want to be anonymous, don't log into things on Tor. The easiest way to use Tor to try it out, it's super, super easy. There's a Tor browser bundle. You download it, you double-click it, it opens up a modified Firefox window, and you've got anonymous internet through that window. If you want to try out like what a VPN could possibly do for you, Tor is a free, easy, and fast way to try it out. That said, it's got its own little quirks and issues, and it is slow.
Okay, just about to say that. It is slow.
Yeah. You can watch, if you get something like ProXPN or private internet access, depending on where you're connected, you might be able to stream Netflix through it. You'll probably be able to stream music through it. But something with Tor, pulling Pandora through it can be a challenge, can be a monumental challenge, depending on where you're routed in the world. Because you're going through so many servers, and a lot of them don't have the bandwidth to give everyone access to Netflix. So it shouldn't slow things down.
Why? See, here's my thing. Why are you watching Netflix through Tor?
Right.
I mean, that's the other issue.
There could be a legitimate reason for that. If you wanted to watch Netflix, but you wanted the UK library or the Canadian library, and you had a Canadian exit node, then yeah, you could watch Netflix, but in Canada for free if you have a fast exit node in Canada. And sometimes you have to sit there and click the new identity button until you end up in a country where you actually want to pop out of.
Look, I see a VPN and Tor working together, but being a little different. So Tor you can use on your own browser. You don't necessarily need a VPN, but this is if you really want to make sure no one knows where you are, your traffic. And like you said, don't log into things. In fact, make sure you're logged out of everything, just so clear your cookies, clear your history. And then I can see what's it called? VPN is if you're on the road or you're at a Wi-Fi you're not so sure about. You need to do some banking stuff.
Or if you just don't want your phone company snooping on you, you just turn on VPN and have it route all your traffic through your phone. That can get pretty slow, especially if you're on a bad connection. But it does prevent snooping.
What I will say is if you have the option, you're on public Wi-Fi, you're at Starbucks, and they say, hey, would you like to connect to the Wi-Fi? We did a whole show about how your best bet is just to stay on your data connection, and it's better just to buy more data than to use the open access point there, because you don't know what's going on there. At least with your 3G or 4G network, it's just you and whoever, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint.
Right. But if you don't have a choice, if you can see yourself using a lot of public Wi-Fi and you really want that fast, super reliable connection, paying for a VPN is the right answer. If you're the kind of guy that, you might hit public Wi-Fi every now and again, but you're not really on it enough to justify buying something for, $40, $50 a year, using the Tor browser might be the answer for you. And there are, if you're interested, there are Linux distributions that only use Tor for their internet connection. They remain completely anonymous, completely secure from the moment you boot them up.
Well, I mean, look, I haven't paid for a VPN service yet, but right now I'm trying to build my own, and I don't really have a need for it because I go from home to work. And at work, because I shouldn't be on the computer doing anything other than schoolwork, and I'm at home, and I have no reason to be doing anything bad, so I know Verizon's capturing my traffic, but like I said, I want the fast internet rather than the anonymity for looking at Google Plus or logging into Facebook.
Right. Because if you're logged into Google and on a VPN, they know you're on a VPN, and you're not really hiding from too many people. You might be hiding from the governments or ISPs or telephone carriers in the middle, but you're not hiding from Google if that's who you're concerned about.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I mean, our show is over. We have 30 seconds left. So
I've got one thing, one
okay.
thing left. There are really cool routers that are running custom firmware, or you can build your own with custom firmware. And if you wanted, you could hook up your home router to a VPN, and you could have your entire internet connection appear somewhere in the Netherlands with
Wow.
OpenVPN. I am this close to implementing it just for kicks, but I realize that would totally mess up my Netflix library. It's the only thing keeping me from it.
Have the router connect to another router. Do the Y setup.
I could do that. That's actually
There
not a
we
bad
go.
idea.
We can do that. Well,
That's
we'll
all I
check it.
got.
That's on the priority list. Low on the priority list for right now.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it. We got to go. So we'll see everyone next week.
See you guys.
Bye.